This morning's subject revolves around empowering people. And I just want to start out by this statement and say that it doesn't matter how much you know, it matters how much you empower others. You see, let's say you have a very, very high academic standard, more degrees than a thermometer, and you're very proud of those degrees, and rightfully should be. You've worked hard for those degrees. You've left it on the field, and you've put in the long hours, the homework, and studying late at night for those exams and those tests that came up. And you have a high IQ and a high level of degrees. But let's say you don't have EQ or have the ability to empower others. How much we know becomes irrelevant if we don't have the ability to empower others. I would like to begin by giving us examples. Well, I'll just give you one example right now. It reminds me of Coach. Last night he was sharing with me how he empowered some people yesterday to do something they would not have done otherwise. But because somebody with a few words empowered someone to do something they might not have done otherwise, has helped them be successful in a way that they would not have been. And so empowering others is very important. I think it's a mandate for any parent to empower their children. Sometimes their children tried and failed, and tears are streaming down their face. And then a few words of a parent of caring and encouragement can empower them to get up and go again. And before you know it, the sun's shining again, and they forgot about how distraught they felt a moment before. That's what true empowering is to take someone and help them see that the circumstances they're in is not as bad as it might look. You know, Joseph found himself at the bottom of a well and realized that his very being was sold, and someone walked away with money. It seems almost impossible for him not to go bitter, just get very bitter with his brothers, thinking that they literally sold him like an animal and took the money and went home with it. But that was while he was at the bottom of the well. He was, of course, pulled out. He was sent with these people that he was sold to, and then he found himself in prison, wrongfully put in prison. But through all of that, the foundation was built where he was empowered to come out. Sometimes we fight the bottom of the well so much that we can't see the empowerment that's surrounding us. There's people here that are fighting the bottom of the well right now, that are in the valley. And they fight the valley instead of looking at what the valley actually has. So they miss the empowerment. The other day, realized it ran off like the water off of a duck's back, and so quickly moved on, understood that empowering those people wasn't what they were looking for at that moment. They were okay with being in their misery, and if I, for some reason, made it look not so bad and helped them step out of it and move on quickly, I don't know. Is feeling sorry for yourself, does that feel good? Is there some value in it? I guess it is for some people. For others, it is not. For others, they're not interested in that. You know, Joseph eventually led his brothers in a scenario where they were starving and needed food, helped support them and brought them to Egypt where there was lots of food to support them and the very people that had sold him. That what he went through empowered him for that. So I'm also reminded of Esther, an orphan who became Queen Esther, was empowered by God to step forward and save her people from destruction. You see, empowering people, and this was an empowerment by God, but it was also another gentleman. If you remember, her uncle told her to do that, and she didn't want to do it. However, God empowered her and gave her the strength to do it, but she was instructed by another human. Sometimes when somebody instructs you to do something that may feel tough, and you're scared to do it, you're fearful, and you so do not want to do that. Maybe it's just that first step that you take is when you feel the empowerment of God to take you through, to keep going, to don't give up. Don't surrender. Don't go into despair and believe everything's going to fall apart. Nothing's going to be right anymore. Don't go there. Sometimes a person with a small voice shows up and gives you a call or a text message or something and encourages you. Use that and move forward. Go for it. Give it all you've got. Do what you know to do and with what you have and right where you're at. Allow yourself to be empowered. You see, I like to look at the Holy Spirit, and forgive me if this offends you, I sincerely apologize, but I'm going to use it. For some of you, you might have used phone boosters. So you can buy the most expensive phone booster that you can possibly purchase. Let's say you purchase one for $10,000. And you put it in an area where it has like just a tiny 1% of phone service, but it's consistent. However, you're not enough for your phone to really make calls. It's dropping calls all the time. But you put this expensive phone booster up there, and all of a sudden you have full bars, and you have good reception, and you can talk, and don't even realize that it's supposed to be weak. But here's the difference. Let's say it has zero phone service there at all. That $10,000 phone booster does nothing. It is useless. It was wasted. That's sometimes what happens. When you strive to empower someone, you realize there's no service there. It doesn't matter how much success a person might have created, how many people, how many thousands of people he's empowered to move forward in the path. If there's no service there, his words of empowerment mean nothing. You can create nothing out of nothing. So if there's zero service there, there's going to be zero service moving forward. Don't find yourself with that person that has zero service. You must be able to, when someone strives to empower you as much as you don't feel like being empowered that moment, go ahead and step up your game. Be empowered. Do that day's work, whatever it is you need to do. Go teach those children. Go pastor that church. Go lead your team. Go lead your company. Go lead your family. Go be a great child to your parents. Do something. Be empowered. Do something good. Make something good out of yourself. But I don't feel like it. Nothing has been going right for me. I understand that. Neither did Joseph feel like it when he was at the bottom of the well. Neither did he feel like it when he was thrown in prison wrongfully. But see, that's what empowered him for what he wanted at the end. If you're going to be empowered, then you're going to have to listen to the voice. And see, oftentimes the voice that comes to you to empower you may be a familiar voice, maybe a spouse, a child, a father, a mother, uncle, aunt, pastor, teacher. It could whoever. It could be anybody that gives you that little voice, a team leader of empowerment. And sometimes we reject it because we're so full of bitterness. We reject that. I'm reminded of this man that was a young man that had found himself. He was scared and somebody did something and he hauled off and shot this person back in World War II. Not World War II. It's the Civil War, I believe. Yes, Civil War. Anyway, he found himself in prison and he was going to be excommunicated. And of course, his mom did everything she could to try to save him. She had this one person actually talk to the president and shared how, President, we know you're a man of faith and a man of God and that you wouldn't do something just to kill someone. And this young man that's here in prison that's about to be excommunicated tomorrow morning or the next day, wasn't tomorrow morning yet, but the next day, he did wrong. But can you just give him life in prison instead of taking his life? So the president just really quickly ripped out a piece of paper, wrote on it that he was a pardon. And this man, all excited, took this piece of paper, a torn piece of paper with the president's signature on it, stating that, and went for the prison. He got there. He takes it inside and he shows it to his friend and says, hey, come here. You've got to see this. The president has pardoned you. The man, filled with bitterness, turns around and comes over and looks and sees that it was a torn piece of paper with some scribbles on it. It says, this is impossible. If the president would have signed my pardon, he would have used a professional piece of paper, a document that would have been done professionally. You're just mocking me. He turned around and faced the wall away from him and told him to quit mocking him and to leave. He did. The man was executed at sunrise the next day. This actually went to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court voted that a pardon is not a pardon unless accepted by the person that it's given to. A pardon is not a pardon unless it's accepted by the person that it's given to. And let me just remind you, that goes for the blood of Christ as well. That's our pardon. And if we don't accept it, it's not a pardon to us. But let's come back to this, empowering people. You see, This man could have been empowered, but he denied the empowerment. It was written on a torn piece of paper. Sometimes those empowering words come to us by a torn vessel, a person that too had a lot of problems, had a lot of issues, has made bad choices, all those things. And the words of empowerment come through that person, and we reject it because, after all, that's a terrible person. That person's made mistakes. That person's an awful person. Why would I take empowerment from that person? I know that we're all of us. We're broken. We're torn. We've been, through the mill, so to speak. But my challenge and encouragement for you guys today is to go empower someone and allow yourself to be empowered as well. Esther was empowered by her uncle, and when she made the choice to go do it, she was also empowered by the Holy Spirit. I'm reminded of the 120 that were in the upper room after Christ had ascended. He told them to go to the upper room and wait. They didn't actually know what they were waiting for, but they stayed there until the Holy Spirit came. It says he came as licks of fire, and it empowered them. Once they were empowered, they went out and spoke boldly. They were not afraid of speaking. They spoke out. They spoke with courage. They spoke boldly. I'm going to challenge you to be empowered today. Allow yourself to be empowered. I know maybe you're in a bad situation. Maybe your finances aren't good. Maybe your health isn't good. Maybe your relationships aren't good. Maybe there's a lot of things that aren't good that I know nothing about. I understand that. I get that. But get out and be empowered today. Go give it all you've got. And also empower somebody else along the way. Don't just be empowered yourself, but empower somebody else as well. And again, if there's no signal there, that doesn't mean they're a bad person. You'll move on and empower the person that desires to be empowered. That person might be empowered later. Who knows? A prostitute from Jericho, Rahab, was empowered by her faith to help God's spies, leading into the overthrow of Jericho. Did you all realize that she felt empowered to protect those men, which should have killed her by doing that? However, because of that, her part of the wall stayed where her house was at. Stayed. It did not fall down. Also, did you all realize that was the genealogy to the birth of Christ, King David and the birth of Christ down through there? Isn't that interesting? Sometimes God uses the most harmed, tarnished people, backgrounds, histories to bring the best out. Let me tell you, I don't care right now about how your life looked up to this point, how many mistakes you've made, how many mistakes your partner has made, your parents or your children. I know that you have something of great value. Go be empowered today. Make it a great day. As always, remember, don't settle for less than who you are. May God bless you.